We have a formal setting, all pleasantries shared. I want to welcome all of you to the course UGRC 150 Critical Thinking, Practical Reasoning. This is 2023 first. Okay, well, so you would not have to do first semester family health course. So on our screen we see the introductory page. Where are we? Here. Okay. Now I've given you my details already, so I think that we are good to go. You can call me Dr. Miles. I'm fine with it. There's a little edit here we should have done, but it's good. The substantive content is there. Now, when we met in person for the introductory session, I gave 1 or 2 comments on how you should understand critical thinking. And I want to know if any one of you, Larisha, please, I had to mute you, okay? Your background is a little noisy. All right, so can any one of you try to give us their own view of what critical thinking is? You may do that by raising your hand if you want to. If you were asked to give, very good. If you were asked to give, I want to see more hands, please. If you were asked to give just a brief view of what you think critical thinking, Felicity, go ahead.
Critical thinking is the careful, deliberate decision as to whether to accept, reject, or suspend judgment about a claim, and the determination of the degree of confidence with which to do so.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And that is everything I told you myself, which is fine, at least for starters, but I would want us to work towards, using what we hear. That way, then we are better able to express it. Because if you didn't understand it, then that is where perhaps we may have to feedback, give the same thing back to the person. So thank you for that effort. Can anyone else add to that? Add to what Felicity said? Felicity Dede has defined critical thinking beautifully for us. What would you consider to be critical thinking? Very good. Charles Lane, go ahead.
Please, critical thinking is the analysis of available facts, evidence, observations, and arguments to form a judgment.
Hey, sister, me, you. Thank you very much. That's a good effort as well. So either way, you would see that when you are trained to suspend, you see, your judgment about a matter until you have good grounds, good justification. I'm going to project shortly. You have good grounds to believe or accept the claim or the belief or the position. This is what I projected last week, okay? Or the position, if you have good grounds to believe it, then we will say you have applied the skill of what? A critical thinker. So you are a critical thinker when you are able to suspend judgment only after you have good reason to believe in it. Not only that, but also you have good grounds to determine the degree of confidence you have in that view. Because for some of the views, you can have absolute certainty about that position. But for others, you will need a certain degree of what? Doubt. For example, suppose I said, yesterday, there was so much traffic on the way to Tema. Therefore, today too, there will be traffic. If I said that, would you think of this as a certainty? Or you would think of it as a highly likely, issue, that it is highly likely that there might be traffic on the way. Based on the evidence presented, you can say that it is highly likely that there will be traffic. You can't say that you have proven with certainty that there will be traffic, because for all you know, there might not be, because of an event going on at the place there. They might block all the traffic to just a few of us, or perhaps just when the event ended and the traffic was going to start, then you got there. So the degree of confidence you will have in that position is also a training that a critical thinker must have. Therefore, you realize that the critical thinker is concerned about how well a belief or claim is supported by reasons. And there is a technical word over there in the bracket, which is the same as reason. That technical word is what? Premises. So if you don't see premises, you would see reasons or you will see evidence. In all cases, they are referencing the justification you give in order to what? Make a case or a position or support a viewpoint or substantiate your position. That is what critical thinking is about. So you would see that the whole course will be giving you tools, techniques, skills that will help you detect possible errors on your screen now, please, or fallacies in your reasoning. We will equip you, God willing, with skills of analysis and projecting alongside. So you would respectfully join and it will be fine. You'll be viewing and I have no issues at all with you. So the critical thinker analyzes, that is, break down into constituent parts, analyzes statement claims, and not only analyzes, but he does what also? He evaluates. Evaluation means you judge it. You judge. Okay, so when you are giving the statement, you judge based on what? Evidence. If I told you that the bachelor next door has beaten his wife, I told you that during the first session, the reason why you would tell me that that is already false, regardless of the evidence I present, is because the person is a bachelor, that he couldn't have beaten his wife. Simplicity. Okay, so you do evaluation after you have conducted some analysis, or after you've done some analysis, you're able to evaluate. Evaluation, analysis, examination, critical reflection are all skills that are developed in the critical thinker. Any questions so far? Please raise your hand. And if you have a question, then you raise. Okay, so we can go on. Back to our slide. So you will see that every critical thinker on our screen now asks pertinent questions. You will see that a mind that is equipped with the skills of critical thinking asks questions, a lot of them, not in the bid to embarrass anyone, but in the bid to seek clarity. Critical thinker is not gullible. You don't just swallow hook, line, and sinker. You try to clarify. You seek grounds. So we ask questions with the aim of what? Trying to respond to everyday problems of existence. That is what a critical mind does. All I'm doing so far is to give you some ideas about what you should call critical thinking and who you should call a critical thinker. That's what I'm doing. And I hope that gradually we will get there. Now, if you look on our screen again, let's see. You will see that this is very important to us. So please take note. Critical thinking will help you. Let someone read that. I think that will help, and then we can expand it. Someone read this for us. Please raise your hand if you are able to read or you are willing to read, and I'll code quickly. Okay, thank you, Pamela Franchi. I'll take Pamela. Charles Lane, you can be on standby. Pamela, go ahead, unmute and read what you see on the screen.
Critical thinking. The course will equip you with concepts, methods, tools, principles, and techniques for establishing and distinguishing liquid truths, into brackets, linguistic certainty, from empirical truth, into brackets, observation-based contingency.
Right, very good. So what Madam read is this. Hey, a background. Thank you, my lady. Please mute up quickly, okay? Now, when I give you truth, a statement, truth just means a proposition, a statement that did not depend on observation to ascertain the truth or falsity. I didn't have to see, hear, touch, taste, or smell to establish the truth or falsity. All I did was to analyze the very statement, break it down, open out the statement, look at the meanings of terms, the logical structure. I cannot say, like I gave you those funny examples in class. The ladies wearing a suit sitting at the back there, what have they done? They are totally naked. You know, then you clap and say all those things. Now, the point is, if she's wearing suit, then she couldn't at the same time be totally naked. That's the point. The same with the bachelor example. So we are saying that there are certain truths you can know the value. In other words, there are certain propositions, their truth value can be known just by the language of it. So you should say what you mean and mean what you say. We are getting there. Otherwise, just by the language, we can tell already that I wasn't there when the laptop got missed. Me, that room could have never been there. The thing is, when I went there into that room that day, I didn't touch the laptop. What are you saying? What exactly are you saying? I've never been there, or when I went there, I didn't touch the laptop. That's contradictory by the logic of it, the language of it. Okay. So if you speak, these tools we are going to equip ourselves with will help us get these concepts, methods, tools, principles, techniques that will help us establish what and distinguish truths that are logically grounded. They are based on the logic, the language, versus those that are based on the empirical observation. Okay. So if I said it will rain tomorrow, it's an empirical statement. You can use analysis or definitions or meanings of terms or logical structure to determine the truth or falsity of a statement like tomorrow it will rain. No, we have to wait and observe and see. Tomorrow will come. When tomorrow comes and it rains, what I said is true. When tomorrow comes and it doesn't rain, what I said is not true. You see that? So it's an empirical statement. When you say the lady will deliver on the 13th of December, that's an empirical statement. You don't use analysis to ascertain the truth or falsity. You use what? Observation. The critical thinking course you are taking will equip you with concepts. Take note, methods. You will become it. That is what it will do to you. It will make you. You don't learn it into your head and chew purpose and forget. No, you will become someone who is conscious of what. Say things like fallacies, error in the language, equivocation. You can detect it. So it is skills, methods, tools, principles that will give you to help you establish the difference between these two examples. Now, let me ask, I hope that you can view it because it's quite tiny on the screen now, but let's ask Charles Lee now to read for me the first example on your screen. Charles Lee, please, can you see the screen? Okay, who else can read for us? If they are too tiny for her, let me try and enlarge it a little bit more. I'm just giving, I'm trying to give you some examples to munch on. You pause and think through them. I've enlarged it a bit more until we are further down in our. Yes. Go on.
Please, the first example.
Yes, a witness at the law court.
Jail that bachelor with my own eyes. Because with my own eyes, I saw him beat his wife. Jail that bachelor because. Please, I'm almost done. Jail that bachelor because with my own eyes, I saw him beat his wife mercilessly. I have video evidence.
Very good. We all know what we can find wrong with that, right? Is that a logical statement that we are trying to determine the truth value, whether it is true or false? How do we determine that? Will we use the language of it, or we'll have to observe to ascertain that? Anyone wants to put their hand? Is that Shaz? Okay, I see. Oh, very good. Felicity, I think you're very active in class. Keep it up, eh? That's very good. Keep your hands up. Okay, I see Jeremy's hand as well. I see only 3 hands up. How would we ascertain that? I'm just trying to see if we are building. Keep going. I see 5 hands. That's very impressive. Let's add more. Would we do the logic of it, or we'll look at the observation? Very good. Very good. That's good. Now I take Elvis. So thank you so much, everyone. Elvis, let's hear you. You think it's logical in orientation or empirical, and why?
Oh, I think if there's really video evidence, we can use it as the evidence to jail the person or not.
Thank you for the effort. I've not reacted yet. Let me hear from someone else. So your colleague thinks that is evidence that will help us determine the truth or falsity of statement 1, which was read by Charles. Let's get Christiana's reaction to that. Christiana Ayeni, please react.
For the first one, I feel like that you used to judge it. Because
Sorry, please,
although she has
use
evidence, but she... Sorry?
And lady, please, you say you use what to judge it?
The language.
Very good. That's correct. It's in the language. So we have started something. I think the effort is good. So it's the language. Now, if it's the language, let's interrogate it. What about the language? So I want to take Stephanie Atipo. If you could throw a bit more light, then it will be clearer to all of us and our friend and our colleague who said the evidence. Go ahead. Stephanie. Oh, Jeremy, go ahead then. Unmute first. Okay, everyone is muted, so you kindly unmute first before you react.
Madam, for the question, for the state, the sentence read, if you analyze it, bachelor does not have, a bachelor is an unmarried man, so there's no way he'll beat his wife.
Very good. So that cannot be true, no matter the thing is cannot. It cannot. We said it in class as well. Okay, that's the thing with this language. So if you presented it at the law court, or that is what you wrote in your medical, report about the patient, you can have trouble because if he's a bachelor, he cannot beat his wife. You are saying that bachelor beat his wife. When they brought the woman to the hospital, this is how it feels that medical report will not lead us to arrest the guy. The guy will go scot-free. Because of the language, the logic of it. It's not because the guy has paid bribe or anything. You cannot present this anywhere. And because it is an example, we try to trivialize it. I mean, how many people will speak this way? But we are going to see others of what higher difficulty. And so your ability to detect that the reasoning or by analysis, the statement is a logically false one. And the one that you say this is logically true, it means by just looking at the definitions, the meanings of terms, logical structure, we're able to tell that it is false or it is true. Then we call it logical truth. Truth here means the truth value can be true or false. Okay. The other one that says later on you will come and evaluate some other examples on the screen. But let me see if I can ask Madam. Example 2, I want to leave it till we do unit 7, which is substantive to your discipline. Okay, so maybe let's look at example 4, and then I get reactions from all of you. Sister, read example 4, please.
She is.
My lady, read example 4. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
She is moral because she lives a morally upright life.
What do you think is wrong with that? I want someone to react. Let me see. That looks like a Sunday school teacher. Kwashi Elwin, go ahead, say.
She's moral because she lives a morally upright life. Uh, It's a bit ambiguous. What exactly is a morally upright life?
Okay, thank you so much for the effort. Appreciate it. Let's take Christolab too. Christolab Boate, let's hear you. Okay. React to it. What do you find wrong with someone saying morality is living a morally upright life?
Well, I'll say that the person didn't really define what the person meant by moral.
What did she do then? She didn't define, but what did she do?
It's like she just repeated it.
Yeah,
She didn't
so
really give a
very
reason.
good. Excellent. So there was a repetition of the definiendo in the definitions. Don't worry about those big words. You will tell me later. The person is trying to give a meaning to the word morality. Apparently, perhaps teaching some youth about what it means to be moral. But then she ends up saying, morality is to live a morally upright life. The man said nothing. The woman said nothing. She virtually repeated herself. And in definitions, when you do that, or in argument, when you do that, we say you are committing the fallacy of secularity, begging the question, the Latin expression, petitio principi, which is a fallacy. Which is a fallacy that has been committed there. When we advance, you will see. So in your bid to help your patient, my dear medical folks, when you want to help your patient, you don't tell them that you are suffering from, when he asks, doctor, please, what sickness do I have? Then you say, oh, I want to use some of your terms. You say, oh, you have a scoliosis of the scoliosis, whatever. Then the patient asks you, oh, doc, please, what do you mean by scoliosis of the scoliosis or whatever? Then you say, oh, that is the scoliosis that affects the scoliosis. But that is in circles. You're just going in circles. If you ask me what is critical thinking, I told you critical thinking is when you think critically about your thoughts. I didn't define anything. That is the error that I want you to pause and think in point 4 on your screen that she read. Okay, so whereas example 7 is giving, says example 7, a logical truth or an empirical truth. I want a chorus answer this time. Then I know you are sorted. Then we'll move on to the next thing. This is the mark there. I want a chorus answer, everybody. The traffic was intense yesterday and the day before on that stretch. So I'm not going to that route or route, some of you say, today, because it will certainly be the same today. Yesterday it was intense. Tell me, is it empirical or logical? I want a chorus answer.
No logical.
Very good.
Empirical.
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 Very good. Very good.
Empirical.
Empirical. I'm waiting for one more person. Okay, that's fine. You are all correct.
Empirical.
You, Mate. Thank you all. So now we are good to go. If you got that, then we are all set. Even before you started doing your critical thinking, you're already doing some analysis. Someone, can you read this for me? I think we did it last week, but it's fine to read it so you have a recording of it for your reference. Anyone to read for me, please? Kindly raise your hand so that you can read for me. Right, I'll take Neza now. Yeah, Aframa, thank you. Elvis and Felicity. Neza, go ahead. Neza, please read for me. Can you see my screen, please? Okay, let's take Antoinette. Are you able to read where you are? Then read for me. Antoinette Hegbo.
Critical thinking as topic neutral.
Noting therefore that critical thinking that is and discipline as across disciplines applies to all academic, every
Very
aspect
good.
of everyday life, and for
Very
medicine
good.
or politics, culture.
Religion, culture, military, etc. Thank you so much. So it is neutral to the topic, and I think I explained that so that when you hear us saying that the discipline of critical thinking, that we are all being encouraged to apply a little bit of it to our faith, to our beliefs, to our political convictions, there should be some critical thinking around it. You don't take everything hook, line, and sinker when you don't even have grounds for that. We are saying that that skill transcends discipline, transcends academic barriers, transcends faith, and so it is a useful tool for analysis all around. Now, some of the things that you should be or you would become, or why you should become a critical thinker. You are less gullible on your screen. And less gullible. It means that if you are a properly trained critical mind, you don't swallow things. You are not easily taken in by, so much noise about something. You take your time, scrutinize, and then have a conviction that this thing is the case. If it is social democracy that I think I subscribe to, it is for so and so reason, not because the person has a fine face or it comes from my hometown or stuff like that. You see, if it is liberal property owning democracy that I subscribe to, then it is for conviction. You are not gullible. These people come from so and so place, they are like this, and so is this, and no. You don't swallow everything like that. A critical mind is trained to evaluate and examine, like we said, okay? You don't follow the crowd. You are an effective communicator because you can anticipate possible questions that you can raise. And therefore, you are able to present content in a clear, structured, reasoned way. I mean, if you wanted to disclose the health, your patient, God forbid, has passed on, and you want to tell the family, you have to be a critical thinker. Apply some skill that we are learning to be able to do that. Else you kill someone else in informing. People don't know that. Well, unfortunately, he's dead. You didn't bring him early. Just like that, you have to manage it. Okay? An invaluable problem solver. I think we went through some of them in the past. Because you can anticipate, you can examine, you go to analyze and realize that this thing is not a medicine thing. I told you about the pediatrician. As soon as they come and they say the child is not eating, they say, bring me the prescription book. No, she's writing prescription drugs. No. Perhaps it's all about the presentation of the food in the plate. So you can switch it on and have some fun. Perhaps it's all about how the food is presented. Perhaps it is all about the coloration and so on and so forth. Not so much because the child doesn't want to eat. So it's not immediately a vitamin. No, you are going to give a vitamin. Okay, the stuff like that. So problem solved. Now on our screen, you see what I've said are all highlighted. So open-mindedness, analytic skills, evaluative skills, communicative skills. Right after this, I'll open assignment 1. Don't worry, you'll do fine. I want you to work alongside. Okay? Effective speaking, they are all on your screen now. And then now to topic 1. Any questions? Recall that the topic we are discussing today is thoughts as object of scrutiny. We are scrutinizing our thoughts. We have made our thoughts an object that is to be subjected to what? Scrutiny. So when we speak, whenever people speak, please look on your screen now. They have something in mind that they are communicating. Whenever we speak, there's always an intention. Okay? Human beings think. We are beings that do what think. And our thought is what we capture into the language. So when people speak, there is something in their mind that they are projecting for the one who is listening to grab. That's what language is. So when we speak, we are trying to get something across. Now pause and think. Say what you mean and mean what you say. I want to ask you why you would think that the critical thinker would say what you mean and mean what you say. I've projected something on the screen. Let me see your own views first. Why would you be advised that as a critical mind, you yourself say what you mean and mean what you say? Also, if you are evaluating others, yeah, you have to look out for that. Very good. I've seen these hands. I wish I would see others. But no problem. Elvis, go ahead.
So as a critical thinker, when you say what you mean and you mean what you say, you are less likely to be doubted. Like whenever you see, when you do something and then when you say something and then you
Yeah.
mean what you say, you don't come back and come and change your statements or something like that. It
That's
will give
very
you some
correct.
form of credibility.
Excellent. That's what we are looking for. Because if we should tell you that, you should tell me that, oh, forbid, oh, God forbid. Yesterday you told someone, I'll kill you. Because of this, you've done. You know, that's like a Ghana version of saying, I'll kill you. You know how people can be very, you know, they don't think deeply about things before they say them, thinking that it's all joking and, you know, said it in jest. Then the next day, the person is there. Hey, you are the first suspect. It doesn't mean you killed him or her, or forbid, but you'll be the first suspect because of what you said. Now, suppose when we come and pick you, the police picks you, then you say, oh, I didn't mean what I said. What I said to the guy who has been killed, God forbid, just a scenario. I didn't mean what I said to him. Should the police let you go? Elvis is telling us that will mean you can go outside of the police station and tell your friends in the car that what I told the police people said, I don't mean I didn't mean what I said to the police also. Because you told the police you didn't mean it and they take your word for it, then that will mean you could say outside if you went that I didn't mean that, I didn't mean it. The credibility issue is why you have to say what you mean and mean what you say. And that's not easy. Okay, at least if you have to change your mind, come and say that what I said, no, I am saying this one instead. So this is what I'm saying. Not that I didn't mean what I said. What I said then I meant it, but now I'm saying this. So that we know that we have transitioned. Therefore, you cannot tell us we are going to interrogate people's thoughts from what? Their language, from what they say. We don't want you to tell us that, oh, but people may say something that they didn't mean. That's why we have issued a disclaimer already. That you should say what you mean and mean what you say, else we get into what? Infinite regress. It becomes an infinite, I didn't mean that, I didn't mean that, I didn't mean it, that I didn't mean it. To keep going on, I didn't mean that, I didn't mean it. And I didn't mean that, I didn't mean it, that I didn't mean it. All the way down to ad infinity. Okay? So say what you mean and mean what you say, and we will take you by your word. Okay? Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. The mouth will speak. That's what is there. So if you don't want trouble, and make you say what you mean what you say. Very good. So on that basis, then we can start interrogating people's thoughts. Why are we doing that? Because you're a critical thinker. We are training you at that. You will speak and others will speak to you. Language is the only means that we all communicate to each other. Even where people can't speak for special needs reasons, we can do sign language. It's still a language. So for us to communicate to each other in a social world that we didn't create, that we found ourselves living in, you have to use language. Language helps us to get into your mind. So you have something in your head or in your mind, you speak it, and then the one listening to you can read it. Whether you are a patient or a doctor, whether you are a client or a colleague, medical folk or nurse or health assistant, whatever it is, you will communicate. So we have to use language. Language is the building blocks of our argumentation. Okay. Now, when people speak, there are different intentions in their minds, and these ones are just straightforward. We'll learn them very fast. Interrogative. Interrogative seeks information. When I speak and then it's interrogated you, it means I asked you a question. Your response to me will be to give me information. If you read my intention well, then you give me information. Sometimes you read it well, but you can ignore me. What makes an expression interrogative on your screen now, please, is what? The fact that it seeks information. So how old are you? Did Kojo travel? Which group are you in? Have you checked his BP? When did they admit him? All these are seeking information. I don't know if I activated the chat room. I've asked all of you to type in. Please check if you have the chat. I think I did. Type in one example of an interrogative in a minute. I'll wait for you and read them out. I'll grade all of them. This is on record. So I want a full participatory class. Okay. Unless maybe for one reason, now we are 34, and I think that is very good of you all. So let's get one or two. I just want the participation so that if you don't have a gadget, don't get worked up and all that. But I don't want a boring, one-man show kind of class. Let's see if one person has typed just one interrogative. Very good. You can type in. If you could type, it will be fine. If you can't type, let me get it from you. I see 4 hands up. Now I see, okay, maybe the chat is not activated. Okay, so let's see. Osekufor, thank you. After that, Emmanuel Terry, I'll be on standby. Don't think they put it there. Osekufor, go ahead. Oh, if Osekufor is unable to, then let's hear Emmanuel Terry. Emmanuel, your example of an interrogative. Very good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please, sir.
That is my question.
This one there, you got me. He said?
I said, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I thought I heard, can you hear me? And then I responded, yes, I can. Then that was your interrogative, right? Yes, you got me there. Well done. Okay, let's get an interrogative from John Michael then. John Michael. Irene is standing by, Precious is standing by. Excellent. This is a very active class. I pray you keep it like that. Keep it like that. Go ahead.
Hello, madam. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you clearly.
Please, my question is, are you the patient?
Very good. It's interrogative. Well done. So we can have quite a number of them like that. Now, sometimes too, when I speak, the intention is not to seek information. I'm not looking for information, which is technically called interrogative, like we've seen, but I'm rather instructing or commanding. Please look on your screen, or requesting of you to do something, or directing you. Look at the various ways you use these terms in the hospital setting, or even on phone to your patient. But I have instructed you that you cannot take salt. I told you that don't take that plastic surgery I've done to you near fire. You've bent half of it. It's melted. Fancy that you have only one hip left. These are all imperatives. So you have to know when it is imperative and when it is interrogative. So what's an imperative? A linguistic expression that when you hear it, you will act. It requires of you to act. Stand up, sit down, close the door, cut off the tube, check the temperature. These are all imperative. They are non-negotiable. Don't say, yes, please. I'm going to check. We are not interested in your yes, please. When I say check his temperature or take off the whatever, stabilizer. Hand over my stethoscope. No, it's not a time to say, oh yes, I'm going to hand over right now. No, we are not interested in information. Do. That is what imperative is. Because it might be crucial for the person's survival. You see when you want to do the CPR, the chest thing. You say 1, 2, 3, something, then they put it on it, boom, and take it off immediately because of the power You don't want it to be too much. These are imperatives. When this is do it now, that's not the time to ask questions and you are, no. This human life, there's a place for imperative. Now there's a little small addition I want to make there. So if you look down there, there's a note before the NB. It tells you that, notice that when you have an imperative, the supposed imperative, sometimes it comes as if the expression is as if it's interrogative, but it is actually implicitly imperative. So don't get yourself worked up. Let me show you. Suppose I ask you, look at example 4 now. Could you direct me to the library? Could you direct me to the library? It comes with a question mark, but I'm not asking you to tell me, yes, I could direct you to the library. Can you close the door? No, can you close the door? It's not direct. Would you shut up? I want to listen to the patient. Maybe this is the patient's whatever. Mother-in-law. No, mother-in-law, I don't think you say shut up too much. Like the house assessor, for example, who rushed the woman to the hospital. Now she has been revived. And so you want to get from her what happened to her at the washroom. And she's speaking. Then this house goes, hey, doctor, the way I saw mommy Pa lying down flat. Oh, she died. Oh, she died. It's good. Doctor can say, could you shut up? I want to hear the patient. Now, when doctor says that, the sister shouldn't say, oh, yes, I could shut up, doctor. No. If you say, yes, I could shut up, that is wrong reading of the thought of the doctor. Could you shut up? I want to listen to madam. It will come with a question mark, but she's actually telling you to shut up. She just does it politely, respectfully. So if you see such an expression, just like the one on your screen, could you direct me to the library, please, or something like that? You see that explicitly on the surface of it. You see a question mark there. It suggests it is a question or an interrogative, but it is not genuinely looking for information. Look at it. I'm not looking for people who could shut up so we hear madam. No. For me to say, yes, I could shut up. No, that's not the intention of the speaker. Okay, the intention is to tell you to shut up, but it was done politely. And so it has an explicit meaning, which is a question mark one. So it's explicitly interrogative, but implicitly imperative. Take note so far, though, that both interrogative and imperative that we are studying now do not have a truth value. They can be true or false. When I ask you how old are you, you don't say true. Stand up, then you say false. No. So these don't have what? A truth value. Any questions? Any questions? I think these hands were to respond earlier. So anyway, I see Tim.
Please, I have a question.
Go ahead, John Michael. Excellent.
Please, I wanted to ask if you could repeat what you said about the explicitly and the implicitly. Hello.
Yes, John Mike, I heard your question. I wanted to take a little water. Yeah.
Okay.
So, you see that if I said, like your friends gave quite some fine examples that are genuinely interrogative. They ask you, has he been admitted? The person is genuinely looking for information. The intention of a speaker, if she says, hey, has mommy been admitted? Is for you to tell her, yes, she has been admitted, or no, she has not been admitted. It is for information, so that is interrogative. But if the doctor says, could you shut up? At the scenario I gave, it's addressing, say, the house help who carried mommy to the hospital when mommy slipped at the washroom and fell and blackened out. Now she has been revived. Mommy has been revived, and it's before the doctor. The doctor wants to make a report of what happened. Mommy is fine medically. She just has to take her drug, but we want to know what happened, what she saw, how she felt that led to the fall. Then this house help you say, hey, today, yeah. If it's not my instinct, Nana that prompted me to go to the washroom. And I will bury this, my fine madam today. My fine madam. In the hospital, the doctor can tell the sister, could you shut up? I want to hear, madam. Now, this could you shut up? You see, could you shut up? Could you keep quiet? I want to hear the person. Could you pass me the receipt book, or could you pass me the prescription book? These are all expressions, several of them I've given you, coming with a question mark, just like a genuine interrogator would have done. All the ones we saw earlier came with question marks when we genuinely had interrogators. So let me go back 2 steps, then you see them. This one, they all came with question mark. Did Kojo travel? Which group are you in? And so on and so forth. And you yourself gave me hospital scenarios. They all had question marks. So you would expect that now on my screen, if I see example 4, which also has a question mark, then I should say that it is also interrogative. But we can tell we are not doing English, we are doing logic. We are trying to get into the mind of the speaker. From what he said, we want to use it to get into his mind. Remember my preliminary comment. Out of the abundance of the heart, which is your mind now, the mouth will speak. So you are saying something, and based on what you are saying, you want to get into your mind. So the person says, could you direct me to the library? If you were working on the street, someone saw you and said, could you direct me to the library? Will you stand and say, yes, I could direct you to the library, and be looking at you? No, you wouldn't. When I say, could you direct me to the library? You say, oh, okay, the library. Okay, turn left, right, go up the staircase, then that's the one. I'll say thank you, and you go your way, and I'll go my way. Because if I say, could you direct me to the library? I wasn't asking you for information, which is what interrogatives do. I was actually telling you to do. I was telling you, instructing you, directing, commanding. In this regard, I used it as a request. It was a polite command. Could you direct? So you read my intention right. If you immediately start directing, you act direct. But the reason why you can't immediately say it is imperative is because the thing came in a disguised form. It came as if it is interrogative. Why? It came with a question mark. The package was labeled with a question mark, as if it is a question. So explicitly on the surface of it, when overtly, openly, it is as if it's a question. This is the point I'm making. So it's explicitly interrogative, but implicit, implied, hidden, covered, overtly, it is what? An imperative. And as we start engaging, you will see a lot of such, something that is white, its opposite, black, and then the mixture of it, the gray areas. You will find some which are a little black, a little white. Black and white mixed together is gray. So you will see now, in all our discussions, a critical mind. You shouldn't think that all the time it is either black or white. Sometimes it is a blend, it's a mixture. We'll see them. So here we are, just on our second slide of substantive content. We have seen interrogative. We thought we knew it very well. We've seen imperative. We thought we can identify an imperative. All of a sudden, we are seeing a hermaphrodite, a blend of what? A little female, a little male. What is that? A little interrogative, a little imperative. Could you, and then the whatever the instruction is follows. So if you are not careful, you will think that the person is asking a question. No, the person is asking, yes, but asking you to do. So it's not asking you to give me information. What would that be for? Interrogative, and I hope that helps. Please, is it okay, Michael?
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
Welcome. I'm build on that now. So now move on to the third type of linguistic expression. That simply means the third type of sentence shaped thought. That simply means another way of thinking of what? Our sentences. So our thought captured sentences. We could also be referring to this type of sentence on your screen. Let me squeeze it down a little. Perfect. It is called declarative. We've done interrogative, imperative. We are going to do declarative. Which type of linguistic expression is that? You see how patiently I'm teaching you, because you will use these tools. These are the raw materials that you use to build arguments, if you like, and engage evaluation and critical examination, all the forms of reasoning, causal reasoning, formal fallacies, informal fallacies, all those ones will be based on what? Declaratives, imperatives, whatever that we are dealing with. So you have to patiently ground the students in these concepts. No rush at all. I'm almost done. What is a declarative then? It is also a type of linguistic expression. What is its intention? See that interrogatives seek information. Imperatives instruct or require that the hearer performs an action. What about declaratives? Declaratives convey information. They rather give you information. So if I have a declarative, it will be either true or false. Look at the note before down there, the NB. Declaratives have a truth value. It means they can be either true or false. Only declaratives are like that. All the things we'll study in the unit 1 here, the types of sentence that shape our thought, sentence shape thought. It's only declaratives that have a truth value. Why? It's only a declarative that can be either true or false. If I say, how old are you? I said it earlier, I'm repeating. You won't say true. Stand up, you won't say false. But if I told you that the lady has delivered a bouncy baby girl, that is a statement. It has a truth value. That means that expression can be either true or false. Why? Because it is declaring to you. Look at the alternative names. Because it is statement. Because it is a proposition, proposing, stating, assertion, asserting something. All these are different labels for the same type of speech act. Okay, so you know that it has a truth value. Some want to say it is a truth bearer. It bears truth, means it can be either true or false. Okay, so declaratives. Let's look at types of declaratives then. I think we'll deal with them later. Okay, so you have imperative, interrogative, declarative. Let me see if someone has a question or would like to give an example of a declarative that he or she can think of. Precious, do you want to do that? Okay, let's take a second for then. An example of a declarative.
Hello, madam.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Please, I have a question.
Oh, okay, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Yes, please.
Ask your question.
With the determination of a truth value, are we looking at the fact that you can ask true or false after the statement has been made, or maybe subjective answers to the maybe true or false is considered?
Yes.
For example, if one of your examples was she's a good friend, to someone the person can say it's true, someone can say it's false. So when we say the declaratives have truth value, does that count, or it's just the fact that you can ask true or false after the statement has been made that makes the statement a truth-bearing statement?
Excellent question. And in your question, you have mostly answered all of them. So you will see in a minute. But just to respond directly, yes. When you say it has a truth value, it just refers to the ability to be true or false. The expression can be either true or false. As to whether it is actually true or actually false, that is what will lead us to the types of declaratives. So the example referred to, like the good friend and those ones, it will depend on who is speaking. That's a value judgment, which is a type of declarative. Okay, so we'll get there shortly. But in the answer straightforward is a declarative has a truth value. Simply means that expression that we are describing as a declarative can be either true or false. You need to. Whether it is actually true or false will lead us to will lead us to the 3 types of declaratives. We'll do that before we go shortly.
Thank you, madam.
Welcome. Right, I see Chris Love's hand also up. Is there a question or to answer my earlier question? Chris Love, watching.
To answer your question.
Go ahead, my lady. Thank you so much.
Well, classes will end.
Very good. It looks like Chris Love wants the class to end early. which is fine, no problem. Classes will end early. Yes, I think I heard that. If it's not early, it's fine. Now,
No,
that,
I said class. Never mind.
oh, okay, you matter. My people, so those were examples of declaratives given to us. Now I'm going to move on to ask you to tell me where you will place the polling. I really wish we could do it with the chat, but the chat to some to may struggle a bit. So we are not a big class, we can do the course. If I said, give me rice and stew, my famous example that I use, give me rice and stew. Which type of speech act will it be and why?
An imperative.
Imperative.
Because we are not a very big class, we can do that, okay? Just so that we can learn from each other.
Imperative.
Yeah, it's imperative. Well done. You're following. What about if I said, where is the rice and stew?
Interrogative.
Interrogative.
Excellent. Excellent.
Interrogative.
Interrogative. Great. Then if I had gone ahead to say, the rice and stew is very delicious, what would you put it?
Declarative.
Declarative. Well done. That's also correct. Good. You are following. Now, what about if I just said rice and stew? As critical action. Very good. Immediately, you would want to ask, but where should I place rice and stew? Is the person asking me for information, giving me information, or telling me to do something about rice and stew? Suppose the patient is lying down. They said rice and stew. Then perhaps with the context that she's in, you may think it to mean that she wants her rice and stew, or she feels for rice and stew, or something like that. But if it is not fixed somewhere, then it's difficult to make meaning of a fragment like that. That's why Madame says it is called a sentence fragment, an incomplete sentence. Take note, I didn't say statement fragment. I said sentence fragment. It's a fragment, a part of a sentence, not a statement, because a statement is complete. All right. If only I got to Ajo earlier, that's a fragment on your screen now. The question is, what then? If you go to Ajo earlier, then what? Yeah, it's not complete. Rice and stew, my rice and stew. I said, what has it done? The Dean of Students at the University of Ghana, yes. What has he or she done? Morning dew. What about it? Okay. Again, you will see that sentence fragments do not have a truth value, or they do not bear truth. That's straightforward. And then the very last one. The very last of what? The very last of sentences that shape our thoughts. That's how we call it. Or speech act. They are actions captured into speech. So when you hear the speech, it makes you act in a certain way. That's why we call them speech acts. Stand up, you see that you are standing. On our screen is emotive expression, where you are capturing the feelings of the speaker. It's not an incomplete sentence, complete. But it is not interrogating you. It's not an imperative. It's not informing. It's just the person's emotions being expressed. Who the hell do you think you are? I'm just using that as an example. Look at example 3. Don't stand there and say, I am the president's daughter. No, the person didn't ask you a genuine question. You are a critical man. If you hear the husband of the patient in your ward there come in and say, who the hell do you think you are? You don't stand there and say, please, I'm the doctor in this building. You have to start finding some corner to hide yourself, because the person is not happy. It is an emotion that is being expressed. On your screen, you see, oh, what a day. Wow, brilliant, awesome, bravo. These are all what? Emotions, emotive expressions. They are neither true nor false. And so a critical thinker must have that in mind. Any question? Or we go to the types of declaratives and then I'm sure we'll be rounding up. That will address even further the question that your friend asked. Great. Can someone tell me the difference, if any, between a statement and a sentence from our presentation so far? I've seen Felicity's hand, but I want keep very good. I see Temi Lulu. Oh, I'm sorry, Temi. Okay, Temi, go ahead.
A sentence is a collection of words with a complete meaning, but a statement can either be true or false.
Well done. That's excellently done. Just a little tiny addition. So a statement is also a sentence. In other words, it is a collection of words that carry a complete thought. But in addition to that, it has a truth value, like you said. It can be either true or false. That means we could have other sentences that are not statements. They carry a complete thought, but they are neither true nor false, like statements would have been. So a statement is a subset of a sentence. A sentence is a bigger set. Inside the set of sentences, you would have imperatives, you will have interrogatives, like we see, you will have statements or propositions or declarations. They are there. They are all inside the big matter set. That was brilliantly done. Thank you, Temi. Now we can take our next slide. It's a little, addition. It's a bit, we are going to take declaratives and then do the 3 types, and then I will end. Otherwise, there'll be too much in a day for you to absorb. Quite a little crowded slide, but intentionally so that you have all the thoughts there and connect one to each other. So I've enlarged it a bit. Let's look at what you see there. Can someone read for me, please? Let's take, I want a reader now. We are descending the high hill. Thank you, Shaz. Go ahead.
Types of declarative. 1. Factual statements. There are 3 different types of declarative sentences. Factual statements, valid and definition. Factual statement informs by objectively describing what is their true sense of observation. Example 1. The batch is sitting under the tree sleeping. 2. The president is taller than his opponent. 3. The car knocked down the boy. 4. Emma is a girl. And 5. Water boils 100 degrees Celsius.
Excellently done, Chas. Thank you so much. Now, let's see what is happening here. We'll do it patiently, no rush, because now we are entering into a little bit of a technicality, which if we grab very well, then the subsequent content as we build on them will be a little bit more accessible to us. We'll tailor make the UG content proper, useful for your medical session. So it's not every content in the textbook there that we'll use. We'll use those that are useful for your practice as medical folks. Okay, so let's get these now. You'll be amazed that if you do not get this distinction very well, you may cause a havoc because you disrespected someone's value without seeing. You were all bent on giving the person health, which is why you are there. Deliver health to the person. Before you know it, you have given the person reason to be offended and get off. So values are there, definitions are there, and facts are there. And that is why we want to introduce you to these 3 types of declaratives. Remember, declaratives have a truth value. They say something that can be either true or false. They inform you, they convey information. And the first type is what Chaz read beautifully. This is the one we call a factual. Remember, declaratives are also called statement. So you see that we are saying factual statement. When do we say a sentence is a factual statement? First, it has to be a statement, not just any ordinary sentence, but the particular type that has a truth value. So we have established that. But second, if it is a factual statement, then it has what? Objective truth. The truth or falsity is about the object, not the subject speaking. not the person speaking's viewpoint, no, but the object that we are speaking about. So if the example one says that bachelor sitting under the tree is sleeping, we could go under the tree and the person there may be a sister. So we'll say what the dog said is false because dog said that bachelor sitting under the tree is sleeping. If we were to go there and the person is not a male, let alone being unmarried and all the factors that will make someone a bachelor. If we go and it's not true, what the doctor said therefore is what? Factually false. Why are we qualifying it with factually? It's a matter of observation of the object. When we see, hear, touch, taste, or smell, we are able to ascertain the truth or falsity of that statement. That is what makes it what? Factual. So it can be factually true or factually false by what? Observation. That's what scientists work with. Typically, you observe. So we take the temperature and we tell you it is 60 point this, and that means you are sick and stuff like that. Or that means so and so and so. It is a matter of fact, not because I hate you or I don't have good terms with you or because our relationship went bad. That is why I'm saying this is a factually observable matter. It is raining at Family Health University. This is a factually determinable matter. Yes, I gave you information. How do we ascertain the truth or falsity of this information? If I give you information, there is a declarative. How do we establish whether it is actually true or false? We can do so factually. What does that mean? We can use our 5 senses. I can either call someone that I'm at playground now. I could call and say, one of the students says it's raining at Family Health. Is it true? They can look at it and say, oh, no, it's not raining. We are here. It's not raining. By factual observation of hearing, I can ascertain truth or falsity. I could also go there and see. That is using my eyes, you see, to see. I could feel it by pulling my hands out of the cup and feeling whether it is raining. I'm still verifying by touch. Factual observation or factual statement is what? Describing. There I go. It describes what is there through what? Sense observation. A factual statement is that type of declaration that does what? That describes, describe, like to decode. Scribe means to write. So you decode, you describe, okay? You unscribe it. The thing is there. You take it and write it out. So it is not your view that you are imposing on the object out there. It is the object itself that you are observing. Okay, so water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, the factually true or factually false statement. In this instance, it is factually true. The car knocked down the boy. That is a factual matter. We can observe. If we go and it was a girl that was knocked down, not the boy, this is factually false. If we go and it was a lorry that hit a goat, it is factually false. But if we went and it's a car and truly knocked down a boy, then it becomes factually true. So this is a factual statement. That means it is a type of declarative that has what? Objective truth. Look at example 2 that she has read. The president is taller than his opponent. This is a matter of observation. Whichever president we have in mind, when we check, taller than is not, oh, because I'm not on good terms with what Charles Lane or Jeremy. So I say all of a sudden Jeremy has become taller than Usain Bolt. It's not about your perspective or cultural difference or religious background or stuff like that. No, it is purely about the object. If you got that, and I spent a lot of time there because I want you to get it, then I can quickly take you to the second type of declarative. Then, if you got that one, second type of declarative, then I would love someone to read that, someone else, so that we can contrast what she has read with someone else's reading. Hold on just a little bit more. We'll round up quickly. We have some time, but I would want to end even a little earlier. So anyone wants to read that for us? Oh, please raise your hand if you want. Thank you, Charles Lane. I hope I'm pronouncing your name well. Felicity, now I'm not calling you again. That's how I am. But raise your hand 100 times because I take note. I'm working on participation. Go ahead, Jocelyn.
Value judgment
Mhm.
informs by subjectively prescribing or evaluating how something or someone should or ought to be. They do not state facts about the object, but rather express the viewpoint of the subject.
Of the
Examples:
subject.
1.
Very good.
That
Please go on.
bachelor has a good conscience.
Good.
The second example: this knife has a good edge. It is wrong to talk back at your supervisor. Amma is a beautiful girl. The wicked driver knocked down the innocent boy. The president is more corrupt than his opponent. He is a good boxer.
Very good. Well read. Now, let's start our analysis. This is value judgment. It is also a type of declarative. See how we build knowledge? So we are building slowly, no rush, no one to feel or have arrived. No, it's just this because we have not started critical things. But we are getting there, and that's fine. Listen, the second one we are looking at is a second type of declaration. It's called value judgment. We don't like to say even value statement because it judges, but it still has a truth value. So here is the type of linguistic expression which has a truth value, yes, but the truth value has what? Subjective interpretation to it. A viewpoint of the subject, not the object that you are viewing, but what I think of it. And how will you know that? Sometimes the terms the person is using, the language is a prescription. You shouldn't talk back at your mother. That is just another way of saying it is wrong to talk back to your mother. That's what it means to say you shouldn't talk back at your mother. It is wrong to. You should not take that which does not belong to you. Prescription. Amma is a beautiful girl. Oh, but doc, I don't see should not in it. Let me show you in a minute. When you say Amma is a beautiful girl, you are expecting that when you show her picture, we all should see beauty. Well, the other brother may look and not see beautiful. You can't force him to see beautiful because maybe for him, beauty means something different from what Amma is on the screen that you are showing. But someone else can say, as for me, I think taller than means something else. You can't do that. Taller than is not a decision you make. If someone is taller than someone, it is objective. Put the two together. We can measure taller than objectively, regardless of culture, faith, academic level, taller than Padre. You can't say me too. I think that after all, I wish I knew all of you. I would have used some examples just to make the point more strongly. Okay? It is not for the subject, but this one, beautiful, is it is the subject's viewpoint about what beauty should mean. Beauty is not an objective truth out there. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. That's why some plait their hair, and that is what constitutes beauty for them. Another person would rather shave it off. That is beauty for them because it is not objective. It is a subjective viewpoint. Okay, so when you introduce words like that, good, bad, that is what your friend was pointing out earlier. Wicked, look at the example 5. The person says, the wicked driver, Charleslyn read that. Okay, compare that with what Shaz read. 5 says, the wicked driver knocked down the innocent boy. Wicked is not an objective thing out there for us all to see wicked. When a car knocks down someone and you are reporting it, you report that. If you are writing a medical report, you can write down the facts. Then you can do your interpretation of it. Don't say that the kind of bruises I saw on her face, she would have been beaten up by her husband. Or if I look at the sizes of the whatever, it would be an accident. No. You don't do that. State facts. I saw this. The heart was this. The skin had this, and this one had that. and this one had that. If you now want to write your impression of that, you're entitled. That's why you are the professional. You can say that if I look at the angles of this bruises, I suspect it was. See how I'm speaking? I suspect it could be false, empirical. Slide number 2. I suspect it could be gas burns or acidic this or that, and that is why I am proposing a further, lab or something at so and so and so. They put it on file. You don't impose your interpretation of what you think happened onto the fact. Let the fact stand and then write out what you make of it. The child is not eating, according to the mother. The child looks a little bit more nourished. The eyes show signs of anemia. That's your work. Yes, just reporting what you see. It looks like there's some yellowish stuff. I suspect jaundice. I suspect, because it might turn out that the child is a sickle cell, whatever, anemic patient. And therefore, even if in her best of moments, there could still be traces of ring, this golden ring thing around the eye. Before you go pronouncing the child jaundiced, when perhaps she's not. So what? So value judgment, back to our screen. Report the raw facts rather than imposing your judgment. Because the one speaking, number 5, saying that the wicked driver knocked down the innocent boy, may be amazed to hear what another person who observed will say. Say, the innocent driver knocked down the rascal boy. Someone else will do that interpretation. The same event. 2 people reporting. Joy News versus BBC. If you don't report facts and you start putting in opinion, that's what creates the problem. If it is a fact, remember what Shaz read. Let's go back to help your memory. The car knocked down the boy. Even that fact we could verify, and it might turn out that it wasn't a boy. It was rather a cat. That the boy was going to pick his cat under the car when the camera is picked it. It could be. So the fact could even be false, except that it will be verifiable, objective. So we can easily check that. But when you go and put in value judgment, as it on your screen, then sometimes it makes it difficult. He's a good man. Don't do that to him. Good says who? Whose view are you at? Have you asked the lady that he left yesterday before coming to hook up with you? Go and find out from that lady if he's a good person or bad person, and so on. And I think the point is made. So corrupt. Look at example 6. In Ghana here, if you said this thing right now, true or false, who should say true and who should say false? It depends on who is speaking. Example 6 is what I'm referring to. But when we looked at Shaz's own in up here, which says the president is taller than, it won't generate any controversy. You have a unanimous answer. Taller than his opponent. If there are 2 people standing there, one and the other, you can't measure taller than. If one is shorter and you go and say taller than, then that becomes factually false. You need to. But when you go and say the president is more corrupt than his opponent, and you expect an objective truth, it's a lie. Because the term corrupt is a value-laden term. Polite, corrupt, beautiful, good. Those are all terms that are value-oriented. So when you put them in an expression, they become value judgment. Oh, so look on our screen now. We can have 2 versions of the value judgment. It's just a quick addition. Sometimes the issue we are deliberating over, using value terms over, are not moral issues. Okay. So he's a good boxer. My phone has a good screen. Yes, I'm using good, and I'm talking about screen. So the good here is not about a moral issue. Morality is what? It borders on what? Life and death, human-related matters. Not only human, because look at the C here under 2. He's a good boxer. It's also talking about a human being, but it's not a moral matter. It's not anything that has implications on life and death and human well-being and stuff like that. No. If you got that, then you will understand why we distinguish moral value judgment from non-moral ones. So the moral ones, like abortion is evil, you should not talk back at your supervisor, etc., etc. before I go on to the very last thing left, that is the third type of definition, which is straightforward. The third type of declarative, which is definition. Let me find out if you have any questions. Okay, so we will do a. Hey, you've done well. Everyone is still signed up, I hope. I'm going to give a very quick online chat room exercise. I will find out those who are still there and those who have left. I don't think anyone has left. So let's do the last lap and then you can rest. Look on my screen now. Types of declaratives. The third one is definitions. And it's straightforward. Whenever you give a declarative, you may either be stating a fact, like we've learned, or you may be presenting a value judgment, or you may actually be giving us the meaning of the word, how we should use the word itself. Okay, so definition is the third type of declarative, and obviously you know what a definition is, so don't let us go around too much. Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma. I'm telling you that if you don't know what pollination is, it just refers to the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of the flower to its stigma. Finished. An even number is any number that is divisible by 2 without a remainder. I just defined even number for you. Bachelor is an unmarried man. So these are all instances of what? Definition, making meaning. Take note, we'll take that full lecture on definitions, God willing, when we meet next week. You'll be amazed. You might think, oh, but are we still going to do the definition? For you to make meaning to your pediatrician, to your client as a pediatrician, you have to make meaning. The dentist, for people to brush their teeth. This long talk of premolars and molars and what have you, my sister, you are wasting time. Go and get rotten teeth, very nasty one, and put in a nice transparent glass. Put it there. When people come and they don't want their teeth, they say, tell the small girl, look, have you seen that teeth there? If you don't brush your teeth, this is how your teeth will look like. It's a type of definition. We will learn which one makes meaning. There are people that are still drinking. You tell them everything, they don't. Show them a pictorial manifestation of how their liver or lungs, I think, will look like when they continue drinking. Stop talking plenty. The woman is eating a lot of salt. One of the times when she can tell her, said, have you seen? Look on the screen there and then show her how her heart has become maybe large. And sometimes I think that the way we are giving meaning is what helps us save life or worsen. Person has a condition. You mentioned a very complex technical theoretical term to show that you know your stuff. You're a poor patient who didn't come to argue with you about your medical qualification. He just came to get a little health advancement. Okay, so you have to know when to call for which type of meanings, and we will do that next week. So some examples of definitions for you giving meaning. Okay, the unknown word underlined there is what we call the definiendum. And then the other part of it that you use to give meaning is the definitions. Always understand the logic behind definitions. You use the known to get to the unknown. So you always teach or define from the known. Let the people grab something that they know, and then use that to lead them to what they don't know, which you are taking them to. That's how you give meaning, and you do so effectively. Okay, so start from the known, and that is why if I say a bachelor is an unmarried adult male, it means you know an unmarried adult male, and I'm telling you to use that. Know a bachelor. On our screen, we see the sentence from statement that Temi beautifully helped us look at. So we don't have to stress ourselves much with that. Nana is a graduate. That is the vice chancellor. Those are sentences that are also what? Statements. But when we look at the second set, sentences that are not statements. Yes, they are sentences, but they are not statements. She set up, why are you crying? And so we will end the lecture. Any question, please? Jeremy, are you there?
Yes, madam.
Great. Is Charleslyn also there, please?
Please, I'm here.
Excellent. So today's lecture is recorded. I'll share the link with you as soon as I pull it off and upload to my YouTube there. Then I'll generate the link and share with you. Subsequent lectures, if we don't want to do the whole recording, because it can be very heavy to some of you, then we'll have an interactive session. Then I'll think of working maybe a 10-15 minutes run through them and then organize that for you. So it will just serve as a reminder for you. You have to decide that. But I like to record all my lectures all the time for reference, easy referencing, and then to be a backup in case students need to mop up. Okay, so that is it. We are done with our unit 1. We are going to do in our 8 units. I don't know if you saw your course outline. Your folks, they have it. It's scheduled, so you know each week what the topic is. Today was thoughts as object of scrutiny, and we just crucified that beautifully. I could create the Telegram platform later, but I want to see if the YouTube, the WhatsApp platform will help us for now. And then now the online assessment, you just submit them to my email when and as and when we have to do them. For now, you have to gather some information. Okay, any questions on that? All right, thank you very much. If you have questions, don't hesitate to you can take my contact from the rep and send me a message. Just prefix it with your school there. Say something so that I know that it's your school, because I have numbers of students, so I don't brush you aside or misinform you without knowing, because I may be giving information that's relevant to main campus here, and it might not be applicable to you directly. So if you preface it with that, then I'll know that this is coming from so and so students of mine, and then I'll advise. Thank you very much. All the best. Take care.